This day, when a searing tragedy struck in a place parents felt their children were safe. The worst grade school shooting in U.S. history, at least 27 dead, 20 children, 7 adults, including the principal. And the gunman killed himself. And all over this town, in churches like the United Methodist Church behind us, well, the lights are on and they are still open for prayer tonight.
And they will be all night.
I know there's not a parent in America who doesn't feel the same overwhelming grief that I do. The majority of those who died today were children. Beautiful little kids between the ages of 5 and 10 years old.
According to Connecticut safe storage laws regarding firearms and other weapons, Adam Lanza, the gunman in the Sandy Hook shooting, who according to New York Times was completely untreated for psychiatric ailments, should not have had access to a firearm at the time of the shooting. The weapons Lanza used to murder the 20 children and 6 adults at Sandy Hook Elementary School were illegally taken from his mother, Nancy Lanza, who failed to store her firearms in a safe location away from her mentally unstable son.
20-year-old Adam Lanza went on his bloody rampage. ABC's chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross is here with the latest. And Brian, you're hearing that the weapons Adam used were likely registered to his mother, who's described as a gun enthusiast.
That's absolutely correct, according to people on the scene in Newtown.
Since the Sandy Hook shooting in December of 2012, many politicians have fought for the United States to amend their gun laws, calling for tighter restrictions on the sale of firearms, as well as more in-depth background checks. Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy is among this group of politicians, and is an icon among those fighting for gun reform in America.
Mr. President, I'm on the floor this afternoon to mark 5 years since the unthinkable, since 26 and 7-year-olds, 6 of their educators were killed in an elementary school in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. It changed the town of Newtown, it changed this country, the way that we think about gun violence, and it certainly changed me. It's easy to hang your head thinking of all of the things that haven't happened. I've been down to this floor over 50 times, often at my wit's end, raising my voice at my colleagues in frustration at our quiet and unintentional endorsement of the slaughter that happens in this country because we haven't passed a single piece of legislation trying to make sense of our nation's gun laws. In fact, to the extent we've done changes in gun laws, it's compounded the problem, not remedied it.
As Senator Murphy said, the United States has failed to remedy its ever-growing gun problem. In fact, even as one of the nation's most progressive states, Connecticut has seen its tally of firearm-related deaths remain nearly constant over the past decade. Between 2010 and 2019, Connecticut has seen its number of lives lost at the hands of a firearm range from a low of 163 in 2016 to a high of 227 in 2012, 28 of which occurred as part of the Sandy Hook shooting, including the gunman's mother. In this time frame, an average of 193 deaths per year could be attributed to the use of a firearm. The answer to this question is tricky, but in short, there is nothing that the state of Connecticut can feasibly do to further reduce its number of deaths at the hands of firearms. This is simply due to the fact that despite the number of gun-related deaths in the U.S. rising year by year, the nation's support for firearms is also rising, which is a claim that can be supported by statistics. This data is from a poll conducted by Gallup.com, which is a reputable analytics firm. As we can see here, the overall attitude towards the sale of firearms over the past 30 years has changed drastically. 30 years ago, 78% of Americans wanted stricter gun laws, and only 17% of Americans wanted the laws regarding the sale of firearms to be less strict. Today, only 52% of Americans want stricter gun laws, whereas 35% of Americans want the laws to be less strict. This means that the rate of Americans who support stricter gun laws has decreased by 26%, and the rate of Americans who support less strict gun laws has increased by 18% in the last 30 years. Keep in mind that in this time frame, firearm-related deaths have increased drastically. If change were to happen, it would have to be a change to federal laws currently in place. Yet the question regarding what needs to change still remains. According to Senator Murphy, the solutions are not a secret. We know that simple and broadly supported measures like universal background checks, cracking down on straw purchasers and illegal weapon sales, and limiting access to high-capacity magazines and military-style assault weapons would save countless lives. Yet, with these precautions not being taken, our nation still sees gun violence as one of its critical issues.
The majority of those who died today were children. Beautiful little kids between the ages of 5 and 10 years old. They had their entire lives ahead of them. Birthdays, graduations, weddings, kids of their own. Among the fallen were also teachers, men and women who devoted their lives to helping our children fulfill their dreams. So our hearts are broken today. May God bless the memory of the victims.